You are not broken. You are just buried beneath years of noise, fear, and forgotten fire. Today, we dig you out. What if I told you that everything you've labeled as weakness was a lie you inherited, not a truth you discovered? Give me 20 minutes and I'll show you how to erase it, not with fake motivation, not with toxic positivity, but through a forgotten path paved by a man who danced with chaos and called it power, Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "You must become who you are." But who are you beneath the layers the world wrapped around you? In this video, we'll journey through your inner battlefield, the lies, the shadows, the secret strength Nietzsche saw hidden in every soul broken by the world. By the end, you won't just feel better, you'll feel reborn, more dangerous, more alive, and more you than ever before. But first, tell me, what if your weakness was never yours to begin with? In the silence between your thoughts, I have always lived. In the ache behind your smile, I have always watched. And in the fire you keep burying, I have always believed. This is not a motivational video. This is a mirror, and if you dare to look long enough, you might not recognize who's staring back. You see, Friedrich Nietzsche didn't write for comfort. He wrote to disturb you, to shake you awake from the lullaby of mediocrity, to stab your illusions until you bled truth. And today, he speaks through me, not as a philosopher from the past, but as the whisper you've ignored for years, the one that says, you were not born to be tamed. Every time you feel lost in the world, it's not because you're broken, it's because you were built for something more, and the world keeps offering you less. You've been trained to be small, to be nice, to stay in line, to scroll when your soul wants to scream, to laugh when your heart wants to build empires. But beneath that mask of I'm fine lives a storm, a sacred rage, a primal hunger, a knowing. Nietzsche called it the will to power. But it's not about control over others. It's about control over yourself, over your lower nature, your comfort, your chaos, your cravings. You've been given moments of clarity, that split second when you realize this can't be it, there's more, but then distraction, numbness, and the moment passes. You see, the enemy isn't always loud. It often comes as silence, as comfort, as routines that numb you just enough to keep you obedient. But I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to remind you of who you were before the world convinced you to forget. Nietzsche once said, "Become who you are." That isn't a cute quote, it's a demand. So today, give me 20 minutes, not to motivate you, but to provoke you, to resurrect the forgotten warrior buried under the debris of doubt, distraction, and fear. In the next chapter, we look into the most honest mirror you've ever faced, the one that reveals your weakness, not to shame you, but to forge you. And I warn you, it might hurt, but maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what you've been needing. So, let me ask you this. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and didn't just see your face, but your failure to rise? Not the physical reflection, not the messy hair or tired eyes. I'm talking about the mirror that shows you the truth beneath your skin, the one you avoid, the one that doesn't lie. You say you want to change, you say you want strength, but if your actions were on trial, would your habits be your defense or your executioner? We all walk around calling ourselves victims of circumstance. I didn't get the opportunity. My parents didn't teach me. The system is rigged. But Nietzsche, he would spit that out like poison. He didn't believe in excuses. He believed in will, in force, in becoming something despite everything. And here you are, waking up every day with the same patterns, Same habits, same excuses, and calling it destiny. You scroll, you wait, you hope something will change. It won't, because weakness doesn't show up at once. It grows quietly, in the decisions you delay, in the words you never speak, in the silence you drown in while pretending everything's fine. You weren't born weak, you were born unfinished, and life gave you pain to sculpt you, but instead, you used it as a pillow to sleep on. Nietzsche believed that man could create himself, not through comfort, but through confrontation. You want strength? Then meet your weakness, sit with it, stare into it until it blinks first, because that's where it starts. Not in books, not in motivational quotes, but in the brutal honesty that says, I am not who I pretend to be, but I can become who I was meant to be. But becoming means sacrifice. It means letting go of your favorite lies. The lie that says, I have time. The lie that says, next week I'll start. The lie that says, I'm not ready. Weakness isn't lack of muscle. It's lack of discipline, of truth, of pain converted into action. And I'll tell you something that may sting. If you're not uncomfortable right now, you're probably not evolving. You're entertaining your demons instead of exercising them. And every day you avoid the discomfort. You're paying the price in self-respect. Nietzsche said, he who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. But here's what he really meant. You must face your demons, not worship them in the form of distractions. In the next chapter, we dive into something far more dangerous than fear, something that kills not with knives, but with kisses. The enemy that wears your favorite clothes, offers your favorite food, and whispers, relax, you've earned it. But make no mistake, it's not kindness, it's comfort, and it is the slowest, deadliest poison of all. Do you want to know what kills greatness? Not failure, not rejection, but comfort. It's never the storm that breaks you. It's the silent drizzle you called just another day. The warm bed when your soul begged for battle. The just one more episode when your destiny stood waiting. You didn't fall, you drifted slowly, silently, into a soft death. They say the devil wears Prada. I say he wears pajamas. Nietzsche warned of this. He called it the herd, a life of mediocrity, a slow sleepwalk into irrelevance. Not because you're incapable, but because you're sedated. Sedated by dopamine, distracted by noise, drowning in comfort so deep, you forget the sound of your own fire. You think you're free, but your freedom has been sold for a cheap illusion of pleasure. 10-second clips, 8-hour binges, false urgency, real emptiness. You open your laptop to build something meaningful. 2 hours later, you're watching top 10 most useless inventions. You tell yourself you're tired. No, you're hijacked. This isn't laziness. This is spiritual anesthesia, a sedation that whispers, you're fine, while your potential withers. The world doesn't want you focused. It wants you entertained. Because a focused mind is a dangerous thing. A focused mind questions, builds, destroys illusions. And here's the truth. Every single time you choose comfort over calling, your will dies a little. But the death isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It yawns. It scrolls. It waits. You've started decorating your prison, hanging posters of quotes you never live by, praising your own stagnation. You tell yourself you're being kind to yourself. But self-care without self-respect, that's not kindness, that's betrayal. Nietzsche said, the snake which cannot shed its skin must perish. And you've been feeding the snake just enough comfort to keep it alive and just enough fear to never let it grow. Now I want you to ask yourself, What are you tolerating that, if left untouched, will bury you alive in the next 5 years? That job that numbs your soul? That relationship where you're seen but not known? That tiny voice inside that says, more, there's more, but you hush it with chips and background noise? You're not failing. You're fragmenting, slowly, safely, painlessly, and safety is overrated. You were not born for convenience. You were born to burn. But here's the twist Nietzsche understood. The enemy was never out there. It's not the phone, not the boss, not your past. It's every silent moment you betrayed yourself. Every yes you said when your soul screamed no. Every dream you parked in the garage of procrastination and called it someday. But what if you could flip it? What if every ounce of pain, restlessness, and buried frustration could be used as fuel? What if your distractions were just misdirected power? In the next chapter, we enter a forbidden room where rage is not rejected, but revered, where anger is not weakness, but sacred fire, and we'll ask the question no one dares to whisper: what if your darkness was never meant to be healed, but unleashed? Weakness isn't always frailty. Sometimes it's disguised as peace, that silent agreement you made with life to stop trying, to stop screaming, to stop becoming. But buried beneath that silence is a fire, and Nietzsche knew it. He called it your sacred rage, not the kind of rage that destroys others, but the kind that resurrects yourself. You feel it sometimes, don't you? When you see someone win and your soul whispers, "That should be me." When you're alone at 2 a.m. and your dreams knock on your chest like a ghost that won't leave. When you hear your own laughter and realize it doesn't reach your eyes anymore. That ache, that hunger, that unrest, it's not a flaw, it's a reminder. Because inside you, there's someone who was never afraid, someone wild, unapologetic, unbroken, someone who hasn't spoken in years because your comfort kept them locked away. But today, that part of you is clawing back, and sacred rage is the key. Because to truly rise, you must first burn. Burn the lies, burn the fake calm, burn the illusion that you're not meant for greatness. Do not suppress your fire, channel it. Let it move your hands, let it push your limits, let it rebuild your bones into armor. And just when you think you can't take anymore, breathe, because this is not the end. It's the beginning of becoming. You've now awakened the fire, but what if I told you that fire alone isn't enough? In the next chapter, we uncover the forbidden truth Nietzsche left behind. Something darker, something divine, something that could either make you unstoppable or destroy you if misunderstood. He who fights with monsters must take care lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. Nietzsche, there it is. The line most people quote, but few ever understand. Because Nietzsche wasn't warning you, he was inviting you. The abyss is not just darkness, it's truth. The raw, unfiltered, holy truth about yourself. It's everything you've refused to see, every decision you regret, every dream you've buried, every version of you that died, just to keep others comfortable. The abyss is terrifying not because it's evil, but because it holds a mirror so honest it could shatter you. And yet, that's where God waits. Not the God of comfort, not the God of control, but the one that exists inside the void, where your illusions die and your real self is born. You see, Nietzsche didn't kill God. He challenged you to become him. Not in arrogance, but in responsibility. You are not just flesh, scrolling endlessly through life. You are cosmic potential wrapped in fear, and the only way to awaken is to look into that abyss. to confront the very monster within. But here's the paradox. The longer you stare into the abyss, the more it starts to look like you. And that's when you realize you were never fighting the world. You were only ever fighting the version of you that was too afraid to rise. Now the fire is lit. The abyss is understood. But most fall at the next step. They rise, only to fall back again, because they haven't mastered the ritual, the daily divine ritual that forges the new self and keeps the weakness from returning. In the next chapter, we go beyond thought, beyond motivation, and into something sacred. You've awakened the fire, you've faced the abyss. Now comes the test that breaks most souls, becoming, not once, but daily, because a single awakening is a spark. But a ritual turns that spark into a flame that cannot be extinguished. Nietzsche once said, "Become who you are, not find who you are, become," which means you must build yourself like a sculpture. You must carve away the unnecessary, bleed out the weak beliefs, and polish your scars into symbols of divinity. And that requires a ritual, not one built on incense or candles, but on discipline, silence, and truth. Here's how it begins. The morning war, before the world invades your mind. Sit in silence. Listen to the battlefield within. Choose your identity for the day. Say it out loud. I am not the old version. I am becoming something they've never seen. The sacred isolation. At least once a day, walk away from noise, from comfort, from validation. Go where no one claps for you and clap for yourself. That's where the higher self emerges. The daily rebellion. Do something difficult every day, not for the result, but to remind your weakness. You don't own me anymore. Ice baths, early wake-ups, workouts, reading philosophy. Pick your weapon, use it, the nightly resurrection. Every night, write down who you were, what you conquered, what almost broke you, and then what you'll destroy tomorrow. This isn't journaling. This is strategy for your soul. These aren't habits. They are rituals of identity shift. Each one kills the old self and gives breath to the God within. And when you do this daily, your friends won't recognize you. Your enemies won't understand you. And you'll finally meet yourself. But becoming is only the beginning. Because there's a war waiting for you out there. A world that will try to drag you back into softness, into safety, into sameness. In the final chapter, we prepare you for that world. We reveal the final law, Nietzsche's armor. The world doesn't care about your awakening. It will test you, mock you, distract you with comfort, punish you for rising. But Nietzsche, he never meant for you to be soft. He meant for you to be armored, because when you begin to shine, you don't just attract the light. You attract the darkness that wants to put it out. That's why the final step isn't awakening, it's fortification. You must walk through a world of noise with ears that only hear truth. You must face betrayal with a heart that doesn't shatter, but learns. You must let the world throw its worst, and still move like you were sent here by the stars. Nietzsche's armor isn't made of steel. It's made of conviction, the kind that doesn't scream, but radiates. Self-respect, so sharp, no one can manipulate it. Vision, so high, the opinions of insects no longer reach you. This is not delusion. This is spiritual discipline, because the one who has seen the abyss, burned their past, risen through ritual, and chosen to stay awake, that one is no longer breakable. You will still feel pain, but you'll wear it like a crown. You'll still stumble, but the ground will fear your next step. You'll walk among the asleep, but you'll carry the eyes of a god, So here we are, 23 minutes, from weakness to war to becoming to godhood wrapped in human skin. Nietzsche gave you the map, but you walked the path. And if you felt something tonight, a spark, a shift, a voice in your chest whispering, "I'm back," then this isn't the end. This is where your legend begins. Join the tribe, because the world doesn't need more people. It needs more awakened warriors. And you, my cosmic friend, just remembered who you are. Now go and let the world witness you.